Hey guys, James here with another H&K video, and today what I would like to talk to you guys about are the rare P7 models, the P7M13SD and the P7M13SD. Now I've done a comprehensive video review on the entire P7 series line, and that's on my YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that in the description information here for this video, and recommend you go and check it out if you want to learn more about the full line of pistols, but it's a unique opportunity today because I happen to have a P7M13SD here with me in the shop to cover these a little more specifically and share the information that really is probably one of the least well-known models of these pistols. Much of the history of these guns is not well known because it hasn't really been publicized. H&K at the time that these weapons were introduced was a privately owned company, and they were pretty good at keeping those special customer guns kind of separate and secretive. And the only real information that we've seen that's come out on this is in the H&K history book. And if you don't have a copy of this and you're a big time H&K fan, you really need to get one. It's loaded with great photos and pictures. It takes the company from its start all the way up to about 2000. And there's a small section in there about the P7M8 and M13SD models. So what are those? Well, really they're just a standard P7M8 or P7M13 that's had the standard size barrel replaced with a longer and threaded version. And the SD is an abbreviation for the German definition of sound dampened or suppressed pistol. So it's just a suppressor capable version of those pistols. And where it came from was, again, the mid-80s. The P7 pistol had gained a lot of attention, especially within some special operations units, counterterrorism units. Then they released in the mid-80s the M-series pistols, the M8 and the M13. And again, garnered that attention. There soon became a requirement from those units for a suppressor-capable version of that. So H&K went back. They pulled, between 86 and 88, a series of M8s and M13s off the production line and put the different barrel in there, and that's where these guns were initially produced from and provided those units. And again, the information, footage of those types of pistols at that time, it's pretty rare to find that these days. But what is more well known, at least here in the U.S. market, are models of this example. And this is a P7M13SD, which has a KF date code. And what I'll do is we'll flip around here to the workbench, give you a closer look, and we'll dive in a little bit more into the history of these pistols and this specific one that I've got at hand. Okay, so let's continue the history discussion here, and we'll talk about where this specific pistol and several others like it came from. In the mid-90s, there arose a requirement for a European Special Operations Unit for a series of these P7M13SD pistols. And for whatever reason that I've not been able to find information on, this 50 pistol contract was never fully supported. And so these pistols just sat there at HKO in Germany for many years until a decision was made in 2005 to export them into the U.S. For sale through HKI. And at the time, H&K USA as a company had split into two different sections. You had HK Defense, which was up in Sterling, Virginia, and now in Ashburn, Virginia. And then you had HKI that moved initially to Trussville, Alabama, and it's now in Columbus, Georgia. And when these pistols were imported into HKI, the intent was that the 34 of them that came into the country would be offered on the U.S. commercial market or sold, to some other, law enforcement military unit. But that didn't happen. Instead, H&K made the decision that they would offer some of them as retirement gifts for long-standing members of the company. Others were offered to super-duper VIPs, and then the rest of them were offered for sale to the employees of the company. And that's where you usually see these make it out onto the private sales market. I was lucky enough many years ago to purchase a P7M13SD from a friend of mine who had been a member of H&K and had purchased it through them, and really enjoyed the ownership of that pistol. But as the values of these continued to grow, I saw an opportunity to, instead of keeping a safe queen that I definitely enjoyed but wasn't going to shoot, I was able to sell that off and use the profits of that sale to purchase my P7A1, which of course I got great enjoyment out of as well. And I actually made so much money off the sale of my pistol that I actually cut a check back to that HK employee and sent it to him as his portion of the proceeds. So they are very valuable in the private collection market these days. So it's great to see one, and this example is absolutely mint. The gentleman who's selling this was also a former H&K employee and friend of mine, and he brought it here today, and he has justified that he has, not only has he never fired it, but he's never racked the slide, never cocked the cocking lever. All I did was wipe this down with a little cleaning patch. It is absolutely in perfect condition. But what you will see here, obviously the main difference from a standard model is the longer and threaded barrel, and then you see the markings here. You have a KF date code representing 1995 production, and then you have the import markings of HKI, Trustville, Alabama. It comes with the manual, its serialized box, its test target, spare mag, and the 2 cleaning tools, just like it would have initially arrived. Just absolutely beautiful example. Now, again, there has been some debate over the years of when these weapons were actually produced. Because of the import markings, the date code, I actually have an internal document from H&K that references that their thought was that these pistols, these 34 that were offered here in the U.S., were part of that initial batch that was made between 86 and 87, and that they had just been maintained in Germany until that point. But what I've been able to find out through my own research is that's not the case for 2 reasons. One is because the serial number range on these pistols is much higher than the serial number range of the guns produced in that batch between 86 and 88. And the other thing I've deduced is that with the P7 M8s and M13s, the early model pistols had a different slide design and a different sight design that was changed in the early 1990s to what we see later on pistols, and that's what you see here. So if we look at the rear sight on this SD model, you'll see it's flat, smooth, same here at the front, whereas the earlier models, and this is an IK date code P7 M13 of my own collection, and what you'll notice here is that the rear sight on this one has a large set screw that's designed to hold the sight in place and prevent it from shifting once it's zeroed. And on the front of the sight, there's a small roll pin hole and a roll pin that holds it in place for the same reason. And that hole protrudes, well, you'll see that, but there's a small hole in the slide right here where the opening is, again, where that roll pin fits through. On the later model pistols, they changed that design. So this tells me that this is a newer slide with newer sights, which would reflect it to have been produced in the 95 range as well. So again, incredibly rare guns that do not pop up for sale very often, and when they do come up for sale, they're never in this condition. Even if the ones that haven't been fired, they've been handled quite a bit, they've been passed around through different collections quite often, and then other ones have been shot and kind of rode hard, put away wet. This one is as close as I've seen to brand new condition. Okay, guys. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about these pistols. And if all of this visual and auditory information has started those taste buds flowing for the idea of, man, I would really like to have one of these in my H&K collection, today may be your lucky day. Because this specific P7M13SD is actually here in the shop on consignment, and I'm going to be offering it for sale. So if you are interested in purchasing this pistol, you can contact me through the Teufelshund Tactical website or their Facebook and Instagram pages, and the bidding will begin. So somebody's going to be very happy here pretty soon. And as always, I am very humbled to be able to share this knowledge and experience with you guys. If you're in need of H&K service and support needs, or you're looking for just unique training opportunities, give me a shout. That's what I'm here for, guys. Thanks.